That's good.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip committee meeting. Today is May 9th, 2022, and we'll call this meeting in order at 7:33 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Juarez?
Here.
Trustee McLaughlin?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Navas-Barza? Here. Trustee Peretta?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Give me 1 second, please. There we go. So, officers' reports, I'll start with mine.
Do you want to do we do have one bid for the OPEB. It got put down in finance because it came in Friday late afternoon.
Okay.
So we want to do that first.
Okay, so we've got one RFP response for the OPEB trust? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so the response came in Friday afternoon from PFM Asset Management, located at 209 South LaSalle Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60604. I do not see a bid bond, but there is a certificate of insurance in here. And they have, so their financial proposal, they have a bunch of different fees in here, but what I think you're probably most interested in is the advisory fee. It's 3 different steps. So for the initial $25 million, it's 30 basis points, which is 0.30%, and that's an annual fee. For the next $75 million, it's 15 basis points, 0.15%, and then the next $150 million is 10 basis points, 0.10%. So what it says as you go down, basically the more money that's in there, the less they charge you for their advisory fee. They do have some other optional things in here, which I won't go through because there's a whole lot, but that was the basis of their advisory fees. Is there any other thing you want me to have on the record?
So they have fees for trading, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's trading processing fees, benefit distribution fees, and then other distribution fees like ACH payments, performance fee, legal services, if you change the contract. And it looks like that might be it, but there's like several things under those categories, which I'll give you this copy when we're done so you can read through it. But that is the only bid that we received.
Madam Clerk, could you read those basis point things again, please?
And this is an annual fee for all of these. And this is the advisory fee. The initial $25 million is 30 basis points, so 0.30%. The next $75 million is 15, that's 15 basis points, so 0.15%. And then the next $150 million is 10 basis points, so 0.10%.
And the address again?
It is 209 South LaSalle Street, Chicago, 60604.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. So I'll go on with my report. First, at the next board meeting, I brought this up a few times over the course of the last few meetings that we've had. We need to send some direction to the Morton Arboretum as they asked us to name the green space that they gave us the grant money to redo our east parking lot of the Village Boat Launch. My recommendation was the Mary Schmidt Community Sanctuary, and as I've said over the past few meetings, should anybody else have had a suggestion, of any other name, certainly we would consider that as well. I haven't heard any. Did anybody else have anything else that they were considering? Otherwise, I'll put this on an agenda next week for final approval then, too. And again, I felt Mary Schmidt, with her commitment to our community for over 40 years, managing the Chamber of Commerce here in the Village of Alsip, as well as now working remotely, overseeing the CalSag Enterprise Zone. I feel her commitment to the community is unquestionable, and she's done everything she can to help promote our town, and it'd be a nice way of remembering her efforts. So I'll put that on next week's agenda. Next Saturday, we're still looking for some volunteers for our village-wide cleanup day, and again, that runs from 9 in the morning till noon. And Becky Smith today spoke with Labriola Bakeries in town here that manufacture Stan's Donuts, and we thank them for a donation next week for anybody who needs a little sugar kick, or not. From Stan's Donuts, we'll have those here for all the folks helping us out. Also, at next week's board meeting on May 16th, we are going to have our student government night, and we've got students from District 218 schools participating in that event. Also, the same next Saturday, the 14th, as a reminder, from 5 until 9 p.m. at Bourbon Street will be the big event, Heroes Cook-Off. This is benefiting Sertoma in Alsip and Matson, and tickets for the event are $20 each. Kids 4 to 12 are $10. Kids under 3 are free. And again, this is Sertoma's big event is for first responder chefs, compete for a best dish bragging rights. This event is a fun way of raising money and awareness for Sertoma while celebrating local heroes. Proceeds help Sertoma provide programming for individuals with developmental disabilities and or mental illnesses. So they do have a number on here to contact, and I'm actually going to be a judge out there. I'm a pretty good judge of food, so I'll be getting on that. And then our Charlie Harding is going to be there cooking as well with the fire department, representing Alsip at the event. I don't have the roster of all the towns that are competing, but usually, and I think even the gentleman from Rib Brothers, I think he's one of the judges on that, too. So, looking forward. Anyway, if anybody's interested, please join us out there at Bourbon Street next Saturday night. Tomorrow night, I'm attending an event downtown for GC America is celebrating 100 years in business tomorrow. So they're having an event downtown for that. So again, we congratulate them on 100 years in business around the world. And I know they're going to probably bring in a pretty good contingency representing, I know Dr. Nakawa is going to be there, and that's the owner. He's coming in from Japan. Last thing, last week the board gave consensus for me to get a local realtor to help market the village-owned property at 3725 120th Place. I did reach out to a local Alsip resident who I know is a Century 21 broker, and he did send me, and I'm sorry this didn't make it to your packet. I got this on Friday. Century 21 agent. It's a 7-month agreement. I'm sure we can negotiate other if we had to, but it's a 7-month agreement. And then, I sent this over to Gary Perlman to review. He said it looked like a good agreement. He wasn't sure if a 7% commission was correct on a vacant property. And I'll defer to our Realtor person. Kathleen, do you know what the average commission is on a vacant property?
As realtors, we're not allowed to discuss commissions because it could be seen as a violation of ethics.
I see, okay.
So I know that we have the option of going into closed session to discuss
Yeah,
certain items, so.
yeah. There was a question, and I wasn't sure of what the fair one is.
We're not allowed as realtors to kind of agree to commissions. It's just between you and the client. The client and the realtor agree to a set commission, so a client can counter and say if they wanted to reduce it.
Oh, I see
or
what
if
you're
they
saying.
agree with
Okay.
it. Mhm.
That's fine.
I wouldn't be able to comment on regards to their commission.
No problem. I'll get this out to the board, and I'll call for a short meeting next week or something we can talk about before we approve it.
Okay.
This doesn't have to be done immediately. I just want to let everybody know I got one. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. First on your agenda this evening, I had on here was a request to approve a list of annual mayoral appointments that require consent of the Board of Trustees. Let me just bring up my packet here real quick. So I had, and what you saw on your screens in your packet was in red were the appointments that needed to be remade. Basically, the only changes, well, I can say it certainly for the record, our attorney was Lewis Kankar Limited Law Firm. Our engineer was Robinson Engineering. Our Director of Emergency Preparedness was Chuck Geraci. Our Administrative Adjunction Hearing Officer was Odelson and Stirk. Building Commissioner Roger Early. Part-time Building Inspector Darrell Rita. Part-time Electrical Engineer, it should be Electrical Inspector probably, but Brian Larman. Part-time Plumbing Inspector was Jim Smith. Our Fire Chief was Tom Stasinski. Our Deputy Fire Chief and Training and Safety Officer was Deputy Chief Robert Rucker. Fire Prevention Officers are Joe Schmidt and Tom Leah. Our Environmental Health Commissioner was Ken Panarella. Police Chief Gerald J. Miller. Deputy Police Chief Sean Schult. And Police Lieutenants Kevin Mikos, Todd Gutowski, and Valerie Emick. Our Finance Director is Joyce Tucker. And our Superintendent of Water and Sewer was Dan Triven. Also, in addition, what you saw there was our new ComEd representative, which isn't an appointment, I just want to let everybody know who that person is Adriana, I'm sorry, it is an appointment though too, but Adriana Carosello, I hope I said that right. And then our Planning and Zoning Commission, the terms for Bob Braden and John Gallagher were expiring on April 30th, and both asked if they would like to stay on board, and I'm told through the chairman that they're doing a great job, so we're going to ask Bob Braden. I'd like to reappoint Bob Braden, rather, and John Gallagher, as well as the Fire and Police Commissioner, Tom Dwyer. And then finally was the Fire Pension Board member was Jim McKenna. He's a business owner here in the community. Does anybody have any questions on any of the appointments? None? All right, well, thank you. I'll put this on the agenda next week, asking for board approval on that then, too. And that's all I have for this evening. Clerk's report?
Mayor, did you want to comment on this past weekend's festivities at the boat launch?
What happened out there?
Nothing happened.
I apologize. No, we had to cancel the mulch spreading day, and I appreciate Trustee Murphy.
I was the only one there.
Yeah, well, you know, what
Nobody
it was
told
is-
me it was canceled.
Yeah, well, and that was,
I had water, I had my rake,
Yeah.
I had my shovel, I was ready to go. I had my boots.
Apparently you haven't dropped it either, because I apologize, I'm sorry. You know what it was? I appreciate Trustee Murphy wanting to come out and volunteer, but you were supposed to register where they could get a hold of you, and he and I didn't do that. We were going to be I don't know, we were just doing our thing, we were going to
Yeah,
show up, and
just show
that's what we
up.
get for not registering and
Right.
stuff then too, you know?
Post something at the gate for those that might not have registered.
Yeah.
Just showing up.
Here's the funny thing. I called the mayor, I said, "It's 9:30, where are you?" He says, "I'm in Michigan."
I said, man, you're not on social media, are you?
No, I am not.
No. So, no, my bad.
But for the-
I thought we put that baby to bed, but apparently not. you know,
But for the
okay, so-
record, it's going to be
Reschedule?
rescheduled.
Yes,
So,
and you know, I was out there today, and, man, they dropped off, about trustee, they gotta have a couple of dump trucks full of
There's a lot there.
mulch out there. And, you know, you gotta love the truck driver who buried the gate where you can't get in the place yet, too. So we're gonna have to, I don't know, Mike, we're gonna have to get a snowplow or something that drives a little wedge in there. I don't know how we're gonna get wheelbarrows over the top of all that yet, too, but they basically blocked the gate. Yeah. Thank you, trustee, for reminding me, all
Oh,
right?
you're welcome.
Okay, and Mayor, I just wanted to point out one of the names that is not in red that I believe should be is our superintendent of streets.
You know what, actually, Mike's not an appointment. Mike's a
Is
hire.
not?
No, I don't know why. We went through that a few years ago, Mike, remember? Yeah,
Appointed by the trustee.
yes. But no, as far as,
Trustees don't make appointments.
no, trustees are confirming the appointment, but, no, we went through the records on that back when I first came in office in 17, and yes, I don't know why, but the Public Works Superintendent is not, it's a hire, it's not an appointed position. I don't know why, but it's not.
Well, Mike does a great job, so we like him.
And, well, thank you, that's all I have for this evening. Clerk's report?
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing I want to do is just read in a resolution that I don't believe was read in, but it was approved on the May 2nd, 2022 board meeting. It is the resolution for maintenance under the Illinois Highway Code that Alsip is hereby appropriated the sum of $1,220,000 of motor fuel tax funds for the purpose of maintaining streets and highways under the applicable provisions of the Illinois Highway Code from 5/1/2022 to 4/30/2023. This will be known as Resolution 2022-05-R-1. I apologize, that was not read in on that meeting. I also have the presentation of the March 2022 motor fuel allotment in the amount of $64,171.93. The presentation of May 2nd, 2022 board meeting minutes, presentation of May 2022 fiscal year 23 budget appropriation meeting minutes, and the presentation of the April 2022 FOIA report. And that is all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We don't have an engineer this evening, so we don't have a report from him. And did anyone wish to address the board under a public forum? Nobody? Then we'll go to our standing committee reports, Finance and IT. Trustee McLaurin.
As usual, I will have a list of payroll and accounts payable for approval next week. And then the next three topics, I'm going to turn it over to Joyce. She's asking us for an increase in Heather's hours, discussion of the 23 budget, and I guess we already did the OPEB trust bids. So, Joyce?
So this is something that's happened on a regular basis with Heather during the summer. This is usually when she accomplishes various projects. One of the projects we have for this summer is to implement employee self-service so that we can eliminate the paper stubs that we hand out to everyone. That's just one of the projects. She's very conscientious about her hours and actually probably gives us more than she actually records. But this is, like I said, has been a common occurrence for many years.
I think your math is wrong, though.
I didn't do the math, but, okay, what's wrong with the math?
Well, there's a biweekly amount that's on there, and the total cost is 10 times the biweekly amount. when it should only be 5 times the biweekly amount if we're, or 4 times the biweekly amount if we're asking for 8 weeks.
She might have included our portion of wage of taxes, I'm not sure. So it looks like with biweekly, it would be about 15, I got to get back to it, 1564. With another $120 in taxes on top of that. Of course, there would be matching IMRF to it also. So to stretch it a bit, it would be about $2,000.
Joyce, I just have a question. It says that the invoices are not being approved in a timely manner, and that's, we have Laserfiche now, so that isn't, shouldn't it be the opposite?
You are approving the invoices at your meetings. So you get board reports on a regular basis, but the problem is that the process is when the trustees are done approving, it writes it to Laserfiche. Until that point, we don't have a copy of that invoice. So until the trustees approve the invoices, we don't have anything to work off of. And so Heather has to go into forms reporting and pull the invoices to put into the board reports so that they are there for you to approve. So we don't have them approved. We don't have them signed off through Laserfiche, I'll put it that way. You approve these invoices at your meetings, but we don't have them in Laserfiche necessarily.
So the lag is before we get them or after?
The lag is before. In order to generate those board reports, Heather's got to do a lot of gyrations right now because all trustees have not approved their invoices.
So would those hours be needed if the trustees got on and did those invoices sooner than later?
Well, she could do her projects a lot easier because right now she's spending an inordinate amount of time. Instead of taking 2 hours to produce board reports, it's now 3 days. So it's taken a lot of her time.
So it's 2,000 roughly, not
Correct.
39?
No.
Okay.
So, obviously, the premise of what you're asking for, Joyce, is to accommodate the lag in Laserfiche
No.
approval?
No, her summers are usually spent doing special projects. Those increase in hours is time for her to catch up on things. We've electronicized a lot of things in her office, and just getting that organization down, as well as, again, one of the projects we want to accomplish this summer is employee self-service.
And that's kind of the reason for why she wants to increase her hours, just 7 hours a week for 10 weeks?
8 weeks, approximately.
8 weeks? Okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions on that or anything? No. All right. Trustee McLaurin, anything else?
Still with Joyce.
Pardon me?
You wanted to talk about the budget.
Yeah, I just wanted to open it up for any comments for the budget, because we are in that season. If we need to make changes, we need to make changes. We've gotten several of the projects for motor fuel tax in here now. Roger had a $10,000 increase in the building department for the roof for Village Hall, right up above us here. So that's been added. We're finalizing numbers in terms of what's being transferred to OPEB, and in terms of that surplus, we want to get that down correctly. And so those are basically the changes that have occurred since we went preliminary. Does anybody have anything they want to add to the budget, change to the budget? Okay. I do have a quick update from Molly from Satori on the electric and gas. We have no contract at this point. I sent an email out to everyone indicating that overnight didn't do it for us. The market went crazy, and so they did not accept our contract. The contract we had signed for was 5.9 cents. Last Tuesday morning, it was 6.6 cents, and we couldn't get it booked because overnight it changed. So what we signed at 8 o'clock at night was null and void by 8 o'clock the next morning. And this morning, just this morning, it was 6.2 cents, so it's come down just a little bit. She's going to try to get this booked this week if we can. Don't know how fast you want to move. I've told her not to give us any information until we're at a board meeting, because it's got to be a position where we can move. And we don't move at committee meetings. So just waiting to hear information and what we need to do. It's a very volatile market.
You can't get a consensus for this type thing?
I don't think so, because we're spending money.
Yeah, we need, when we're
We need to
spending
sign a
money.
contract.
And we're still in the same position. It's still 8 o'clock at night. So no matter what we say, tomorrow could be different.
I
Yay?
agree with you.
No, and in the past, when we've done this, it hasn't been as crazy as it is right now.
It is a very volatile time. It's changing constantly. She said it's changing hourly, to be honest with you. So I don't know how we're going to do it. I mean, unless we set a range, I don't know if we can do that. I don't know. But we'll see what happens by next Monday and see if the markets calm down. Because it went up to 8 cents at one point during the night and came back down and stabilized at 6.6 by 8 o'clock in the morning. It's pretty crazy. So I just wanted to give you that update, let you know what was going on.
And again, an electric doesn't expire until December with the
And
current
this
contract.
this is gas.
Yes, we
Okay, but
got to worry about.
on gas, we said we were going to get
Right.
electric's the one we tried to approve last week.
I mean,
And then,
September.
we already opened the OPEB trust.
That's all I have, Mayor.
that
Thank
came
you.
in too.
That's all I have under finance in there.
Okay. Next, we have the Fire Committee report. Trustee Murphy?
I have a discussion of the tollway agreement. Chief Szynski will discuss the updated agreement with the tollway for emergency responses. Chief?
All right, everybody should have got a copy of the agreement. It's been 6 years in the works due to 2 different governors, numerous amount of people that have been changed over in the tollway field as well, so finally they have something together. So the previous agreement was in place well before I became chief. The previous agreement was every time we went on a tollway, we got $300, and that's all we got. So now the proposed agreement, which has made it through the tollway board, also had Attorney Kinkar look at it, and he thought it was good also. Now increases our fee $500 per response up on there, plus we're able to bill for EMS billing that we could not do before. And there's an automatic $10 added every year at the beginning of each year. So much better than what it was before. It's hit or miss when we go up there. Sometimes we go up there a lot in a short period of time, and other times we can go a couple weeks without going up there. So
On average, Chief, how many times do you think you go a month?
a month, anywhere from 5 to 10. Wintertime is going to be a little bit more because people really can't drive in the wintertime even more. So we're inconsistent up there. There's no consistency up there. We cover from mile marker 7.6, which is right off where 294 and I-57 split. We go all the way to equivalent to 115th Street, which is at mile marker 14. And the majority of it is actually in our town, with the exception of about a mile and a half. Any questions?
That seems like a fair increase, Chief. Doesn't sound like it's over the top or anything.
And I mean, it's a tollway. It's their own separate entity, and there are 61 agencies through the state of Illinois that responds on the tollway, so they kind of trying to make everybody happy, all 61 agencies. And some people cover less on the tollway, some people cover more. We're kind of like in the middle because of where we're at located. So,
Chief, how do you, I think I'm going to ask this question in my office, but I saw the fire department respond to one on the tollway, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it was actually going southbound, but it was almost directly in front of like the Lighthouse Church. And I saw the engine and ambulance actually shot down and got on Flatner Drive by the boat launch to get at, because it was such a weird angle on where it was at and stuff.
Yeah.
How'd you guys know to do that?
depends on how it comes in. A lot of the times it's dependent on the mile marker that it comes in. Unfortunately, most of the time it's usually about a mile and a half off, because by the time somebody sees it and they call us, they're already a mile and a half and they're calling in the mile marker they see. So a lot of it just depends on how it calls. And we also have the ability of talking to the tollway, so sometimes we'll get better information as we go en route.
Okay.
Or if it's a car fire, we look for smoke, because that's our best indicator. Otherwise, and it's about a 6-mile round trip if they tell us the wrong location and we have to go find it. So.
Well, that's a heck of an incline off of Plattner Drive, though, too, to get up on the express.
Yeah, they added that when they were adding the 4th lane, and they had the middle lane closed down. So that was our only access southbound for a mile and a half back 12, 15 years ago. So we still use it today, and it's a great ramp for them short distances between there and where the on-ramp is.
Right.
Otherwise, we have to go all the way around, and it's just, the ambulance can make the switch, our cars can make the switch, the engine in the truck, they almost have to go all the way up to 95th Street, probably the majority of the time, to flip around. So it's about a 12-mile round trip.
Okay. Trustee Murphy, I should ask, did you get a copy of this today on lithium ion storage?
I did not.
Okay, it just came through this afternoon from Beth Addard, our attorney, so I'll get this. I'll forward you a copy of this. We'll bring it up at the next committee meeting to talk about that.
Yeah, we approved last week for the attorney to draw that up.
Right.
So we should be good. Actually, next Monday should be able to go to approve it as written, as that's what was described.
Yeah, unless anybody's any questions. Trustee, I'll get you a copy of this physically, but I'll send everybody one I'll email a copy to everybody.
Okay.
We just got that this afternoon.
Mayor, can we move back to finance?
Sure.
I apologize, I wasn't here last week, but did we ever resolve the additional monies that were supposed to go to the fire and police pensions?
Did we resolve?
Right.
What?
The surplus monies from the additional taxes that were put forth to increase the funding. It doesn't appear like it's in here. And the other aspect was the body cameras project for the police department. I see a grant in there for the body camera, but I don't see any dollar amounts budgeted for body cameras.
I put forth the question to the chief, and I'm waiting on numbers back from him.
Okay.
I don't have those. So, as to fundings, the police and fire pension was surplus money. Is that what you're asking?
There was special dollars that were taken out of additional taxes that we had put forth, and those were to be in addition to?
Oh, the
No.
motor fuel tax?
Yeah.
Yes. And you're saying it's not in the budget?
Well, I don't see any reference to those going towards either the police or the fire
Okay, hold on.
pensions.
Oh. And I apologize, it should be in 215, and there should be a transfer to both the fire and police pensions.
Okay, thank you.
And Joyce, when you get a chance, can you send an updated electronic
Absolutely.
copy to the board? We don't need the giant printouts for all of us,
Right.
but if you can send an electronic copy with the changes from last week and with what Trustee Dalzell just brought up,
Yes.
it'll be helpful to have. Thank you.
All right. Trustee Murphy, anything else that you had?
No, sir, that's all.
Then we'll go to Police and Traffic Safety. Trustee Dalzell.
No report this evening, Mayor, thank you.
Public Work and Boat Launch. Trustee Juarez.
I have a presentation of the Public Works Department April 2022 monthly activity report, and Mike Frater would like to speak to us about something.
This morning I received a letter of resignation from one of our full-time Class 2 operators, and I was hoping that maybe I could get consensus from the board tonight to go ahead and post for the hiring, to fill the vacancy of that position. We've been short-staffed last 2.5 years, so I really just kind of want to get moving on this. We're in our busy time of the season now, so if I could get a consensus from the board, we'll follow the, or we'll be in accordance with the ASME union guidelines. We'll post for 5 days, and if we don't get anything internally, then we'll look to post to the outside.
That's fine. Anybody have any questions for Mike? Clerk Harding, can you take a consensus, get a consensus for Mike to advertise in-house to fill a vacant position in the Public Work Department for 1 week, and which followed by advertising outside after which?
Okay, so roll call number one, a consensus for Public Works to, excuse me, post in-house for 1 week for a full-time position to fill a vacancy for a Class 2 operator, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then after that 1 week, post outside. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McGlohan.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas-Barza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta.
Yes.
You have your consensus.
Great. Thank you, board.
All right, Mike. Trustee Juarez, anything else?
No, that's all, Mayor, thank you.
Sewer and Water, Trustee Navas-Barza.
Thank you. I have the presentation of,
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
Oh.
no, I thought I skipped over one.
oh, no, not this time. I have the presentation of the April 2022 Water Department Monthly Activity Report, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the Building and Health, Trustee Peretta.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. I have a presentation of the April 2022 Health Department Monthly Activity Report. In that report, very quickly, there were 30 complaints, 2 inspections, and 8 citations, and no call-outs. Next, I have a presentation of the April 2022 Building Department Monthly Activity Report. Number of permits issued were 94. The amount collected, including inspector fees, was $30,050, and the estimated cost of construction, Roger, I hope this figure is correct, it's $27,737,820.
It does sound about right. One larger project.
Very good. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we had Human Resource and Insurance, Trustee Murphy.
No report tonight, Mayor.
You know what, Trustee, I was talking with my assistant at the end of the day today. We did some first-round interviews last week to fill the Human Resource Manager position, and found a couple of really good candidates. And we're probably going to go into round 2 later this week. We're going to see what the schedule looks like, but we're going to do some second-round interviews this week for the HR position. Next, we had special committee reports, Economic Development, Trustee Nava-Esparza.
Thank you, Mayor. I just had some requests. I know that I haven't had a chance to reach out to your office in regards to the status of the TBK property. I'm not sure if you've heard of anything. Are they going to start digging
What's
the
the name of it?
TBK property that they purchased?
Oh, yeah.
Is there any updates? I know that they were waiting for the MWRD.
That all came through about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But they have not started anything at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually reached, when I was talking with you and I reached out to our attorney, all of that, it kind of flew in here within 3 days after it. So
Okay.
the whole thing was kind of a coincidence. Because I had the same concerns you did, hey, we're not seeing movement here. It all moved all at the same time, not even a week later. So, yeah, right now, but they haven't made a commitment to a start date yet either, Raj, right?
Not at this time, but I will reach out to your take and find out.
You know, and I'm going to double check our redevelopment agreement too, because we do have language in there, and I apologize, Trustee, I don't have it in front of me, but I did read up on that, and I forgot what the date was that they were supposed to be breaking ground. There are circumstances, there's always a provision in there, if something unforeseen, like you said, like a government agency that slows them down. But once we got past that, where are we at then? When do we see a shovel hit the ground on this then, too?
No, and I agree with the RDA agreement. If there is a date there, and you do see the other development that's popping up right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
So it does draw some questions. So I appreciate that update. But also any updates with Next Site? Have they been successful with recruiting anyone?
Not so far. And we always expect at least quarterly reports from them. And actually, I was just talking with them recently. I says, I understand, even the quarterlies are always nice, but we meet every week, and it really helps at least every month that we have an update for them. So I will articulate that to Charles Branch tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
I will say, too, this past Friday, Gas and Wash opened up, and actually stopped there Friday night, get some gas, and wish I'll get something to eat yet, too, and it's kind of cool. I don't know if you guys have been in there yet, but the taqueria that they put inside there, they took an actual truck and make it look like a food truck thing. They have a full-size truck mounted to the wall inside, so it's got a regular kitchen behind. The person walks up like it's a window on the side of the truck. And it's got tires and hubcaps on it and everything else and stuff with lights. The lights are on and all that kind of marker lights. But it's kind of cool how they set that up. The Dunkin' Donut relocated from Pulaski into that store because they didn't want a bigger drive-through. And it was well-staffed. They at least had 4 people working in the Dunkin' Donut. And they're doing free car washes all weekend. Actually, I went there today with a pool car for the village. I went through yesterday with my pickup truck. I don't know if I lost too much rust when they hit the whole thing, but it's but it came out looking great. And they're doing the top-notch car wash, too. You came to see it. It's almost kind of scary. You came to see out the windshield for most of the ride because there's so much soap all over your car when you're in there and stuff, too. But I hope they're going to do really well. And the place looks good, and they got some nice people that work there. And I met the regional manager, Larry Dismore, and he said they want to wait about a month after they open like this, make sure everything's running real smooth, and then they'll do a ribbon cutting. I'll certainly extend to you folks, if you want to join us, you're certainly welcome to all the time there, too. So, but I'm not sure when we're going to do it. Next 4 to 6 weeks is what they told Becky.
You also can't forget the Beggars Pizza 25 is sliced inside, and then also the most important thing, the dog wash.
I didn't know about that.
The what? I'm sorry. I missed that.
There's a dog wash
Oh, yeah.
adjacent to the car wash,
Oh, okay.
Where is that, and when you look at the car wash, I didn't see it.
right at the end of the tunnel,
Okay.
the exterior,
So there's a couple parking spots right there. That, obviously, that's what that is.
before they go up.
Okay, I didn't know that. I'm like I said, you can't see a thing until you're almost out, and there's so much soap all over the car, it's nuts, you know.
Inside it says dog wash.
And your car really smells nice on the outside from all the different soap that's all over it, too. I kind of noticed that, you know. My car always runs better when it's washed, I can tell you that, you know. My wife disagrees, and,
More aerodynamic.
exactly.
So does the owner of Beggar's Pizza, I won't say his name on camera, but does he have stock on 127th or something? Was that like the 8th location? Or?
Yeah.
It's,
Larry Drive, you know, like, all the way down there and stuff. So, well, that's great. Next, ordinance legislation, Trustee Peretta. I'm sorry, I missed
Village
Village
Properties.
Properties. Sorry about
That's
that.
okay, there's no report.
Sorry about
That's
that.
okay, there's no report, Mayor.
Trustee, I didn't get a chance to maybe extend it to everybody, but I did ask Roger, you're getting us some quotes on lawn care, right?
well, the fertilization, yes.
Yeah, right.
I am working on that, and we'll also have some bid openings. They're going to be received the 23rd, we'll open them on the 31st for the fence and painting of the hallways at Heritage. The fence at Heritage 1 and the painting of the hallways at Heritage 2. Both bids will be open on the 31st.
Okay, so you're advertising that right now. Where'd you advertise that stuff, Raj?
I believe it was Needs Review.
Okay, good, okay. No, I appreciate you getting on. I know you've had you've had a lot on your plate, plus you had to catch up on vacation time, because you don't take enough of that during the summer, so I appreciate you getting that done. And a couple that, you were off a couple of weeks ago, but a couple of the trustees had mentioned, and I agreed, I thought the cost of fertilizer would seem a little bit high, you know, for the application, and there's so many properties that they tackle, it's always a good practice to double-check those costs every so often, and again, it didn't go over the $20,000 mark, I don't believe, even combined, did it?
Combined, no.
Okay, but the numbers were up kind of high, and I just thought it would be a good practice to get the 3 quotes like we're supposed to, for cost over $5,000, I think we said, right, per ordinance, but this way we know we're paying a fair rate for lawn care. Okay. Are you advertising, or you don't even have to advertise that, it's not an RFP, but you're getting 3 quotes?
I'm just getting 2 more quotes.
Gotcha, okay. All right, ordinance and legislation, Trustee Peretta?
No report, Mayor.
Okay. And then planning and zoning and licenses, Trustee Juarez?
I have a presentation of a list of licenses dated April 25th, 2022 through May 6th, 2022. That's on there.
All right, thank you. We did have under presentations, petitions, and communications, Trustee Nava-Esparza asked if we can reconsider a request to approve an agreement with Brightly Software for the Asset Essentials program, which used to be known as Dude Solutions. I was told earlier, though, Joyce, you mentioned where one of the trustees put in a submission, they wanted to check out another company too, just for comparative purposes?
Yes, Trustee Peretta asked that we review Cartograph, which I have turned over to the IT department. I'm sorry I didn't get an update today, but we'll definitely report back on that.
Okay. Trustee Nava-Esparza, do you want to comment on this right now, though?
I kind of lost count the number of times I've brought up Dude Solutions, or now known as Brightly. But I think that, again, it's a tool that will benefit the department heads, and there was information that was also included in the packet. I won't read it word for word, but there was another comparison made with another vendor called Upkeep. And just the 2 key takeaways is that Upkeep doesn't provide asset management tracking for water, sewer, fleet, cemetery, parks, and recreation, streets, sidewalks, and road signs, only facility type. Also, Upkeep doesn't interact with GIS for water, sewer, fleet, cemetery, streets, sidewalks, road signs, and unsure if they provide GIS connection whatsoever. So if there is a third, I guess, option to see how it compares in regards to Brightly, I think Brightly pretty much they were very thorough with their presentation, also the packet that they provided, and then just also key points that were highlighted in today's packet as well. And it seems that the department heads also favor Brightly as well. So I'd want to support them by giving them a tool that they feel strongly about and they feel that they would be able to utilize in their day-to-day and also for other activities that we've discussed. That's all I have. I don't know if there's anything else I can comment on, or if there's any questions. I know it was taken off last time's, or the last agenda, because there were additional questions, so I guess this is the time to bring those up.
I agree with everything you just said. I've said this similar a couple weeks ago, and the biggest thing, too, is Trustee Dalzell brought up a few weeks, or we always try to identify with, too, is does it interface with what we do here? Because, you know, there's nothing worse than we came across a couple of vendors that walked us up to the finish line and then said they couldn't do that and stuff then, too. So we just want to make sure we're not getting a sold-sourced product that wouldn't talk to all of our equipment then, too.
They have an open API on their side, and for the moment, the software we've been looking at, BSNA, has an open API also.
What does API mean?
But that doesn't mean that's who we're going with.
No,
And
it
that's
doesn't.
been my argument all along, is we
Oh,
should do the
yeah.
general ledger first.
We have a little hitch with BSNA right now because they have not officially gone to the cloud, and it increases our cost immensely if we do it in-house because of our history that we have. And so their first rollout for cloud is only a few modules of theirs, and it will happen sometime this summer. And I'm sure we do not want to be the first people that experiment with that. So that's going to kind of slow things down a little bit.
Okay.
Or aren't we going to do an RFP or an RFQ for this?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So-
And I agree. They're looking at,
I'm just saying, that it seems like we're putting the cart before the horse here.
they are also looking at AccuFund. They're also looking at MSI Harris. So those are some of the, I gave them a list of ones to pull from, and they're going to be looking at all of those. We have to kind
Who's
of.
they?
Yeah, I was going to ask that same thing.
IT.
Oh,
Leon and Brian, I'm sorry. Just to get some initial feedback from these companies. There's a lot we have to look at besides just looking at surface. You know, we got to dig into these a little bit to see what the processes are and to understand what our storage requirements might be and understand what's going to change, because, you know, we're going to have to change some of the things we do once we go to a new system. So there's a lot of work yet to do on it. They know that that's a priority. They know that this summer is going to be spent getting information so that we know what we want. Leon has asked for permission to go to the department heads and ask, and even just regular clerical workers, what do you like about HT and what do you not like about HT? What would you like to see it do and what would you not like to see it do? So that we have some basis of what are we looking for and how do we want it to work to try to pull this together. This is a big decision, and I know that. And I'm not saying we're going with BSNA, but it's kind of the base at this point that kind of fits us. So that's why I reference it quite a bit. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not trying to lean one way or the other. If we have a better system, we have a better system. That's all.
Well, Joyce, I agree with you. Look, this has been on the agenda 4 times. It came out in December when we saw the very first Zoom presentation. And I was the one and only said, hey, we need this. And then I heard dead silence. And then the next meeting, it was brought up for discussion again, and we took a consensus. Well, guess what? Nobody made the motion. It died. There's reasons. I mean, just like Trustee Dalzell said. We got a lot of questions to be answered. Trustee McLaughlin, let's not put the cart before the horse. So, look, I even, in December, the day after Christmas, I sent Brian an email. I says, listen, we have a responsibility. You know, we have an obligation, and we have the responsibility to make sound fiscal decisions. And we also have a responsibility to be transparent. So all these companies that were looked at. Who are they? How much were they? I think I'm speaking on behalf of the public. I think they have the right to know. I'm not saying that, I'm totally for this. I've been trying to push this. Like I said, I emailed Brian, and I requested that he get 2 more companies, have a Zoom presentation, let them compete for our business.
Okay.
And I've learned this from Trustee Dazell. Because when he made a brilliant move, and this was brilliant, I was amazed. When we had that contract that was going to be renewed with Waste Republic, and he said, let's put this out for an RFP instead of going with what they're proposing. And as I watched the events unfold, sure enough, there was another bid. Republic came in lower than what they were proposing. That saved us money. And I thought that was brilliant. So I thought that was great. And this is similar. And I says, I told Brian, let's let them compete for our business. So look, Cartograph. Pull up a tab, type it in, CARTEGRAPH.com. I think as soon as you open that up, you're going to be intrigued. You're going to be impressed with that company as well. So I say take a look at them. They are used by the village of Buffalo Grove. Okay? It's good to get references. Who else is using Dude Solutions? Maybe we should speak to those people as well.
We have.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very good.
It was in their packet, yes.
There was probably...
Thames 360, I believe, is used by Cook County. You got eMaintenance.com by Fluke Corporation, is known worldwide, big-time corporation. You got Manager Plus by iOffice. These are all comparable companies, but the one that sticks out to me is Cartograph. I think we really should have a presentation by them, and let's find out who's the best one for the job. And, that's going to give us the biggest ROI.
If I can comment, and respectfully, Trustee Preda, it's somewhat misleading to say that you were the only one in favor of this software. And
Back in December, I was.
Well, I'm here also advocating for it, and I didn't go through my
Well, I was
meeting
speaking
minutes.
in December.
Okay, I didn't go through my meeting minutes to see if I did or didn't or when, but, so we're here now in the present, and I understand that the department heads, they're in the day-to-day. They need a tool that they need to utilize, and if they're comfortable with the software, it's also trusting that they're also advocating for themselves and also giving us the information that we need in order to make an informed decision. And yes, there's lots of software that's out there, but even in regards to different industries, they prefer using certain software packages because they're the best of the best, and you are going to pay a premium for the best of the best. And I think that there has been discussion in the past based on, for what I remember, other options that were discussed, and it seems that Brightly or formerly Dude Solutions stuck out. So if we want to go to an RFP, I guess that, to not make this long-winded, is that what the board wants to do is go to RFP and drag this out even longer, or do we want to make a decision to give our department heads the tools that they need now? Because we've had a long discussion about this, and it also, there's also the comment about government being slow and not being responsive, but again, I'm not trying to be irresponsible and not making sound fiscal decisions, not at all. But software packages do cost money, and I see it as an investment in our village, and also it allows us to be more transparent, given that there was a citizens portal aspect to it. I saw a Facebook post over the weekend about a water main break and so forth, and they're resorting to that because there isn't another tool at their disposal to report issues at the neighborhood level. So I guess, to not be long-winded again, are we going to go to RFP, or are we going to bring this to a vote at the next board meeting?
It seemed like the annual cost on that was less than $20,000, so wasn't it?
That's for year one,
Yeah, it's year one. But
and then it's 15-ish a year after that.
But I think the agreement, and certainly we wouldn't just use this for 1 year. I forget, Trustee, how long was the commitment on that contract? Do you remember?
What I'm looking at now, it's a 12-month commitment,
Yeah, that's what I
and then
thought.
2 months included at no additional cost.
Right.
So the subtotal is at $17,335.89.
One of the problems, though, when you talk about software, is the acclimation of people to use the software. And almost always, when you get some software, you're going to be using it for a long time just because of the cost to sit there and change and then develop change in the culture of the people itself. So I would venture to say that the finance package you wish had been changed many years ago. So problem is that once it's here, it's really hard to change out of it. So I wasn't for this in the very beginning. I spoke to a couple of the department directors, and they were convinced that this is the one that would do the job for them. My trust is in them. At the same point in time, to Trustee Preda's point, is that we've been doing without this for this length of time. If we delay it a month, I don't think that it's going to sit there and adversely affect this community in the long haul. And to me, it's prudent. You're talking about a recurring cost here, $15,000, $20,000, whatever it's going to be, to sit there and make an informed decision and a long-term strategic decision.
And I agree with you, Trustee Dalzell. I want it to be the right decision. Mike, I hope you can help me remember, but this has been over a year ago or about a year ago when we started this, and there were other companies that we had come in.
One was CityWorks.
CityWorks, okay.
I don't remember the third one off the top of my head.
It was a very reporting type software, though. It really wasn't an analysis type software. I want to say it started with a G, but I can't remember the name of it.
Some of those were what some other public works municipalities were using, like CityWorks. That's why we entertained and had a presentation done by that. But they still didn't compare to.
So it's not like we haven't been looking at others. We did.
Right. But it would be nice for us to know who the companies were, how much they cost.
I'm not worried about cost. I'm worried about the tool doing the job that it needs.
Well, exactly.
We'll look at the cost after
Well,
that.
if you're not worried about cost,
If you want
cartograph.
cheap, we can get really cheap, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's what we
If you're not
want.
worried about cost, look at cartograph.
So right now, our assistant IT person, Leon, he's got the information for,
Both Brian and Leon have it.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
they know that they're looking into it right now.
so they're going to screen that for us and let us know.
I said, do you specifically need permission, direction from the board for that, or can we just, okay, so get Leon, like you said, start doing the interviews and talk to the users?
They're looking into it right now. I'm sorry I didn't get an update today, but I can certainly have that next week. I can have Leon do a comparison between what we've been looking at, what we've had, or what we've looked at in the past, what we have with Brightly, what we have with Cartograph. We
Well,
can
then-
certainly have Cartograph come in and do a demo. It's not a problem.
All right. So I would agree with all parties that we want to get this thing done, and we've been talking about it for enough time. And again, I coming out of the box, I didn't totally understand it on the front end, but after I hit a couple of presentations, I agree with what Trustee Navarro-Esparza said. And I said that 2 weeks ago. I see some real value in it and stuff then too. And again, not just for today, but I'm more concerned with tomorrow. If and when we have turnover, and the next superintendent might not have the same knowledge that Mike does, and I need to have that transferred properly. And our residents would expect the same thing yet too. So.
But to go along those lines, though, Mayor, I mean, at the same time, yes, the future is what is critical here, and we don't want to rush something in that potentially isn't going to mesh with other things. I want to make
agree.
sure we do it right.
The other two was, like I was saying, even as far as fleet management goes, everybody's talked about these programs for years. There's all kinds of products like that out there, and again, we don't have like a maintenance person just walking around here telling you when to change oil on 26 squad cars or something like that, so tools like this are wonderful to have where it can help, monitor those type of things and stuff then too.
But I said my experience with these types of tools, though, is you need additional staffing to manage it. I mean, the software doesn't manage itself. It's not going to spit things out by itself.
No, you have to put it in.
You have to put it, you have to put it in. It's not going to get there automatically. But then, two, in order to actually take advantage of the analytics and follow the scheduling, you need another body.
Per department?
At least one in total, to do nothing but manage the software.
I have talked to the IT department concerning the fact that we are going more digital. More things are becoming more dependent upon software here. And with that is going to become more demands on that department. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that because that is a real possibility. As we grow electronically, that department is going to have more pressure on it. And right now, Brian's very happy with Leon. Leon has definitely picked up the yoke and gotten in there and done a lot of good work. But as we add tools that are software-based, there's going to be a need for more IT staff to manage that software. I just want to prepare everyone that that's coming, because as we go more digital, it changes the outlook of your workforce, and something to keep in mind.
No, but just using a recent example, the company that I work for, not within the last 6 months, did a massive upgrade to their CMMS system. And in conjunction with that, again, I had to hire 2 full-time people just to manage the CMMS system, not on the IT world. These are people that are working out on the factory floor. And their sole job is to be able to go through the work orders, prioritize the work orders, assign them to the proper staff, do the follow-up, get the results that come back in, making sure that it's put into the system properly. So, I mean, it's a lot bigger in my mind than just buying a piece of software.
It could be, yes. When you're speaking of your infrastructure that this entire city depends on, I wouldn't bat an eye at that, because right now we're working off paper and Excel spreadsheets. And this is something that if you shut down any of those pipes, you have a problem. And so investing in making sure that those pipes continue to flow, I think, is a very high priority.
Absolutely. But again, there's always, in every company I've ever worked for, too, you designate somebody to monitor programs like these and stuff then, too, you know. It could be a stormwater map, or it could be a preventive maintenance program and that kind of thing yet, too. I don't know that there's a need for it just yet to have more people, but I think we're looking for more record retention and obviously maintenance programs and stuff then, too. There's a lot that goes into this kind of thing. And
a centralized area for that. Right now, we have maintenance programs, but they're spread out. I mean, Mike keeps his maintenance records over in his area for his vehicles, and police keeps their maintenance records where they are, and it's all over the place. So we don't have a consolidated place for that.
Okay. So let's again, in the interest of concluding this whole search, you got your IT department doing a screening this right now, so we can have this talk again in 2 weeks and try and wrap it up. Okay.
You're just looking to have them take a look at what the one that...
That was the point.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We will. I'll go back in history and bring back some information on the ones that we looked at. Cartograph. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. I also, Trustee Navas-Barnes, anything else you wanted to add? about
No, that's
that?
it, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
I wanted to just bring up something real quick. Trustee under communications here, I want to thank Trustee Dalzell brought to my attention this week, last Friday actually, and I really appreciate Rick, which there was an article out. I read about this a year ago, and it was just in a newsletter, and right now there's a program that's, I spoke to the manager today, and he's got his people going to send me some information on this too, to see if we want to participate in this. But the Chicago Southland Fiber Network is going to be expanding this year with service. It's a service with expansion funded by Connect Illinois Broadband Initiative through Cook County and federal grants as part of the Chicago Southland Fiber Network's relationship with Cook County. The county received $1.8 million from the state of Illinois as part of the Connect Illinois broadband expansion, and they're going to put in some ARPA money to help beyond what the state grant money was to introduce 100, Rick, am I saying this right, 100 gigabytes service?
Yes.
Okay. Cook County supports sustainable action and to advance digital equity. Cook County Board President Tony Perkwinkle has tasked the offices to advance this digital equity in 3 areas: digital infrastructure, digital proficiency, and digital accessibility. All 3 areas are equal priorities for Cook County. Together, all 3 are the only way communities can move across the digital divide. So I spoke with, there's many communities that were involved in this all through the Southborough Mayors and Managers Association that we're a member of. Originally, as this was designed with this first phase, it was going through everything along the I-57 corridor, but there was interest back from Moraine Valley College and District 230 schools back on LaGrange Road. So he says we'd be at the tail end of this, but he's happy to talk to us about it and find out if we've got both ourselves or any businesses in our community that are interested in upgrading their digital, I should say their fiber network capability. Rick, do you know more about this? I know this is kind of like your wheelhouse. Is there anything more that they're looking for with this particular program?
Because they're just trying to find public-private interest groups.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would think that the Industrial Association, some of the big players that we've got over on Central Avenue, maybe be able to swing that. But certainly for the infrastructure that we have in the municipality alone, between us, Park District, Library, I would hope that everyone would sit there and see the benefit of it, especially with the price point that's supposed to be offered. So, and it's a service that.
No, it looks great, and again, I appreciate you telling me about this. And what he explained to me too is, I guess they spoke to the village back in 2014. Village didn't show much interest back at the time, and as I wasn't here at the time, and I saw this in a newsletter like a year ago, but it never said anything about applying. Otherwise, I would have did so, and too. So I'm sorry to be catching on the tail end. He said he kind of explained that this is through Urban Communications out of Oak Forest, and he said that when COVID hit, everything got iced for a couple of years, and now the county's asking them to get this thing moving again then too. So look forward to the meeting with them. I'll certainly be reaching out to our IT department in the business district. And what he said was he's got a line that's going to kind of come out of near like the Blue Island area going westbound. I said, we certainly have businesses over near GC America and so forth. Then you can hear to the Village Hall. I did let them know PD is located the same. Parks are right nearby and so forth. As you said, the library. And as you're moving westbound, we've got so many industrial parks with the need for something like this. We're going to be fine. He said he just called a meeting with Glenwood. They thought they were just meeting with the mayor and chief or whatever, and they had 35 businesses sitting there waiting for him to meet with them and saying we'd all like to have this and stuff then too. So
and with the remotely located firehouses that we have, our choices are to run fiber by itself, which is going to be really expensive, or to sit there and set up microwave links, which is FCC licensed and somewhat expensive as well, and you're not going to get the throughput speeds that they have. So
okay. Anyway, I'm out, and thank you, trustee, for bringing that up to me and stuff then too. Anybody else have anything they had to share? Do we have any unfinished business? Any new business? And can I ask for a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll adjourn this meeting then at 9:46 p.m. And please. 8:46. There you go. I'm looking at the 9 up there. Thank you. 8:46 p.m. And please enjoy the rest of your night.